Hey everybody, welcome to Shifty's Club. Guys, I haven't done one of these in a while, where I just sit down and kind of talk to you guys about the format. Um, as you guys know, or at least some of you, I recently posted on Facebook the new deck that I will be playing and expanded given the next format. However, I did note that I more than likely will be getting back into playing standard consistently. Thanks to Shield and Sword coming out with two very interesting cards, I might be once again willing to play standard and willing to travel great distances just to play it and it not being an international championship. With that being said, I may or may not go to Australia this year for the Oceania International Championship, but if I don't, it'll be fine because everyone will see me at Collinsville, ready to play expanded. But on a more important note, last weekend was Daytona Beach Regionals, and this weekend right now is San Diego Regionals. I think San Diego, or it could be San Jose. I forget. I don't keep up with cities. I don't keep up California at all. California's not my favorite place. But to be said, they're both standard format, and I'm noticing small meta shifts within the standard format right now. But it's been so long since we've actually had an expanded regional to where we can actually determine what's going to happen by the time Dallas regional rolls around, third weekend of January. Now, my hotel flight and everything's booked. I'm ready for that tournament. So I realistically didn't want to go to a bunch of standard regionals. So if you guys didn't see me at some, that's more the reason why. But for the next, I think, three or four, see, expanded, there's a few more expanded regionals coming up. All of the ones that are, I think, Dallas and Collinsville are consecutive, in the whatever else I forget what it is following after other tournaments. I think Charlotte's one of them. I'm not 100% sure, but do expect me at these tournaments. I'm going to be extremely excited once Shield and Sword comes out to be playing one of my favorite decks, and I'll tell you about that before I or after I get done with Dallas coverage. So at the last tournaments, what we saw was in standard, we've seen a good number of Reshizard players opt to stick with the deck. We've seen a lot of Mew Box players, or as I call it, Mew Mew. We've seen a lot of them stick to more methodical approaches. We've seen a lot of them opt for Rainbow Energy and go ahead and play Greninja. They don't play Viridian Forest anymore. They'll play the Giant Hearth as well as the Welder. However, I think some of them are not understanding that my favorite way to play this is with Jirachi and Pokegear, because you got more options than more chances of getting that Welder turn one than normal. So a lot of players will say, I'll take my chances with this, or I'll take my chances with that, which I guess is fine. It's not the most exciting way to play the deck, but nonetheless, it is a way to play the deck. I will say, for one though, that when it comes to Mew Mew, my favorite way to play it is still with Magneton. For those of you who don't know what Magneton does and don't keep up with my Facebook page, which I hardly ever even post anything, Magneton says whenever once your turn, you may search your deck for three supporter cards, put them in your hand, and knock out Magneton. The good thing here is that Magneton knocks itself out, your opponent takes a prize. So most of the time you're going to be doing this on turn two. So that way you don't take a prize. Your opponent gives up or you give your opponent a single prize. So you can play Lieutenant Surge and then double welder, so you don't have to worry about welder turn one. You can if you want. I mean, that's if you draw into it, that's fine because you can always get a welder for later or get a Giovanni's Exile if you play that, or even Channeler if some things happen. Like, but I will say this that regardless what your tech supporter is, Magneton absolutely works. 100% works. Now, that's not a lie. That's not. This is from my playtesting at the very beginning of the year, or sorry, at the very beginning of the season for Cosmic Eclipse. I absolutely loved Magneton. I play this card. It does extremely well. Um, do I do I think I would play it at standard regional if I play? Absolutely, I would. Absolutely, that card is broken. If you play four of each of them, not only do they become communication targets later, it just gives you more consistency. But you also have like giant hearth targets. You have extra bolt cards to throw in the discard pile. But communication is really why I went 4-4 with it. Because we don't have natural ways like Ultra Ball to search for any one card, there's no reason to run two of them, two of each. So running a full four makes a lot of sense. Jirachi and Pokegear could easily replace a 4-4 Magneton, and you would have not as good odds of pulling it out, but you would have odds nonetheless. Because you do run Dedennes, you do run Cherish Balls, Communications can also search for Dedennes, and you can just help go through your deck a little bit better. I want to say probably about 80% of the time, I would get Magneton out by turn two, hit the Lieutenant Surge, double welder, and just go off. It works. I love it. It's the deck to play, guys, in my opinion. But unfortunately, there has been another deck to come out with Cosmic Eclipse, and it makes me sad to say it is another stall deck, and it is called Doll Stall. It is a bad deck, but players keep trying to play decks that apparently they want to deck their opponent out, which I don't understand because those decks are never going to like win tournaments. Specifically because it's extremely hard for them to win best three of or best two of three 75 minutes. And the reason why is because you could win best two of 350 if you take game one, but you have to take game one. Any other match, if your opponent gets any lead weight or gets any chance to win one game in that match, you can't win, and that's what I don't like about these decks. I understand why people play them. Do I agree with their choice? Absolutely not. But with that being said, it's obviously not the best stall deck. Apparently, Oranguru Pidgeotto is still numero uno. It's got the Jirachi, and it basically is just going to go, okay, I'm going to grab these specific cards, put them on the bottom, just air mail it my entire deck, put those cards back, air mail my entire... At one point, you're just telling yourself, don't even bother trying to play this game play this deck in a long game. You've got to beat this deck fast, and that's why one of my new other favorite decks that came out, this new format ADP, solves a very big problem in stall with a lot of success. So what I love about ADP is that it runs several different Pokemon that can attack for one energy, or even two, to kind of give yourself a better chance. I'm gonna say against against stall, only because you're going to get energy discarded just immediately. You cannot just chain ultimate ray onto one attacker. It's they're going to Articuno GX. They're going to just set your entire board state to complete heck. And it's just going to be almost impossible to win if you try to if you try to use like an ultimate race strategy, or if you decide to try to get a bunch of different attackers ready, they'll just they'll catch you up and try to pin you in one spot. You take any sort of leadway with prizes, they're going to pin you in one spot, put your hand down to nothing, and then try to get off your switch cards, kind of discard them. So I've played against the deck way too many times. I'm just going to say way too many, because I'm going to make sure I don't lose against Stall, or at least my deck is going to have the best matchup against Stall. Regardless of what I play, I'm going to tech for it. So things like Cryogonal and Fione is a really good combo that you can put inside of ADP. And once those two cards hit, your opponent cannot win. They just cannot win. They don't deal damage. They can't possibly, well, other than maybe Spiritomb, but Spiritomb ain't hitting that board if you lock their items, because they're not going to be able to search for it. They pretty much cycle items is their whole idea, but if you don't give them the option of playing like communication, things like that, or getting their one of their few energies that they can actually use to attack with like Spiritomb, they can't do anything. You literally can just win games based on the fact that you can deal thanks to Ultimate Ray, you can attach to Cryogonal, you can deal 40 damage for one energy, item lock, and have Fione to just go, okay, you have a single Pokédoll up front, give me those. Or you're playing against a Ringaroo Pidgeotto. I'm just like, okay, you're almost half your deck, or more than half your deck is items. You ain't playing them the entire game. You can't crushing me. You can't Pokegear for the specific supporter you need, because they play a lot of one-up supporters. You can't, say for instance, Chip Axe. There's a lot of things that they can't do, and you just basically keep them from doing several things. So I like that inside of ADP. Inside of Reshizard, you may as well just run any one thing that can bring back energy with an attack. Just be like, okay, I'll attach, I'll search for more energy. Because I know Mew Mew plays the Solgaleo, so they can just say, okay, I've got 2 energy here, let's attach. Attach. All right, you're go. You're gonna try to keep discarding my energy. Let's go with this. It's like you have to like draft rate, get around this and whatnot. Sorry if I'm starting to guess, because this is a deck that I passionately hate. Is any stall deck. So with that being said, we know what our 3 best decks in format are, and it's going to be ADP, Mew Mew, and Rechizard. That's by far going to be the best decks in format. Those are the decks to beat. Now, just right now, I think Azul went 801 with Malamar with Trevnoir, and it's pretty good. It's a good like handlock type deck, but I'm assuming not a single player there is playing Dark Box, so so that was a good meta call. He didn't run any of those. And Trevnor will probably do very well against any welder deck, specifically because they can't attack unless they can ramp the energy, unless they play the Solgaleo, and I'm sure no Reshizard plays Solgaleo and Mewtwo in the same deck. And a lot of the Mew Mew decks decided to opt out of Solgaleo so they can play other attackers, and that might have made the lead way for that deck. Malamar in general is really good, but I think it's not the optimal choice for the format unless you use the proper cards around it, given the correct format. And I think Trevnoir is probably the right answer. Do I agree that Trevnoir is the best way to play Malamar to against best? And absolutely not. It's just good for right now. It's what can win right now. And that's pretty much standard, is just basically flip of the coin. There's way too much luck involved in standard right now. A lot of good players. I'm not going to say there aren't good players that cheat, because there are a lot of them that cheat. And I promise you that they do. Am I going to call any of them out? Absolutely not. But I will say this: the good players who can win, who you know are going to win at least 3 or 4 games per, 3 or 4 rounds per tournament. It really depends on how they hit specific matchups. Like, you'll have probably, say, 128 players at a tournament who may end up qualifying for Worlds. You have a player in top 25 who goes like 4-4-1 because they ran into a few bad matchups that tournament, and that's going to happen. You may find a random, what I would call scrub, who just goes 9-0 and hits perfect matchups the whole tournament, or just plays the perfect deck to go against tier one, or his opponent's just dead. There's tons of stuff that can happen in these tournaments. So I never get excited about specific decks doing well, specific players in specific tournaments. So standard's a little bit of a kind of a crazy format right now, but expanded's where it's at, boys. So let me tell you about expanded. So the deck I've been playing, the previous formats was Zoro Counterbox, and it's a deck that I created. I'm gonna call myself the founder of it. In standard, there was a Zoroark with Macargo. I brought that to expanded and just made it better. So the whole idea between this deck is to have things like, say, Evolution, Ancient Origins Evolutions. You would have Mew Mew. You would have several other techs. Basically, any Zoroark's still going to be main attacker, except maybe Mew Mew. But the whole idea is you put techs in there for specific matchups to give yourself a better odds of winning. So, say I'm playing against Pikarom. 240 HP, the deck sets up like that. Any Pikarom can win any expanded tournament. Does not matter when it is. It can win any expanded tournament like that. All I do is hit the right matchups, hit the right draws. There's nothing you can do to stop that deck. Once it sets up, it's lights out. So I decided to invest enough cards to beat it, because it is going to be at tournaments. It's going to see play. People just don't realize how good. Some people don't realize how good it is. The top players realize how good Pikarom is and expanded. But with that being said, back of my head's hurting. That being said, I actually put in two specific cards that give Zoroark a really good chance at beating this deck. Before Cosmic Eclipse came out, I put Jolteon from Ancient Origins and Electropower. Now, I'm going to let that soak in for a second with you guys. See if any of you guys can understand what that does. So, Jolteon from Ancient Origins, like the Vaporeon and Flareon, I like it, say that each stage 1 in play is now a lightning type in addition to its existing type. So Vaporeon does it for water, Flareon does it for fire, but Jolteon can make Zoroark a lightning type. Meaning Electropower gives it plus 30. So with a full bench, Skyfield Choice Band and a full bench, it's 210 damage. With Electropower, it's 240, which KOs Pikarom in one hit. And I was using more of a Acerola combo at Greensboro Regionals past, I want to say it was in March. And I did pretty well at first, and then I just ran into one dead draw in a auto loss, and I scooped the tournament because I had no chance of winning a prize. So, because points didn't matter to me really, but I guess I can go for points now. But anyway, the best thing about that card combo is that while people say Pikarom is very hard to beat, having those two cards, it significantly increases your odds of being able to hit that deck, because they don't play any kind of disrupt, whatever. Everything they do is rant. They want to get their board set as fast as possible, so that's why I put this card in here to try to help with this matchup. And I was like, okay, so I can put this little mini combo into the deck. Thanks to having Eevee or Ditto Prism, whatever, I can just literally evolve it straight away and say, okay, it's a lightning type now. Or if I'm facing another deck, Reshizard, which is played in expanded. People don't believe me, but it is played specifically because you have Welder and Blacksmith You also have a plethora of other fire type help and expanded, like you have Volcanion EX. Baby Volcanion does pretty well. I would guess people, kind of like it. You also have the ability to go blacksmith or welder onto the Phantom Forces Pyroar, and instead of using something like Ninetales to go 2 energy from hand, bring a Pokemon up, or play Guzma, you literally just discard a fire from a Pyroar on your bench and just say, bring that Pokemon up. And that's one of the decks that I believe people are not looking enough at is Reshizard, or any variant of fire that can do all these like one hit wonder tricks, especially with a lot of these more mind numbing tricks like Pyroar that players often overlook and kind of forget that they exist. But with that being said, I think that eventually players will catch on and they'll play it regardless if Archie Stoice is good or not. I'm not even worried. Which brings me to Archie Stoice. Archie Stoice is really good. And I forgot to mention Reshizard. You just Vaporeon, Kit for weakness. You don't even need full. You can literally just have 5 Pokemon choice band or 6 and no choice band. Just swing knockout. Archie Stoice. Archie Stoice is a little bit trickier because they have a lot of different attackers, and with Mew Mew coming out and Unified Minds made it almost impossible to beat them after turn 4. So you literally have to win the game by turn 5, otherwise it's over. And that's kind of the thing about Zoroark is Garbodor is really good, but Garbodor makes the Zoroark deck not aggressive. No version of Zoroark that plays Garbodor, Alolan Mach, Seismitoad, a number of these other random attacker, random ability Pokemon is not aggro. It is not fast. It is not speed or aggression. It is a mid-range lock or outlast deck. So, and those are not my styles. I like fast. Now, I used to play a handlock Zoroark that did the because I played it in Dallas Regional last year, and the one before people even knew what red card delinquent peaking red card was. And then the very next year, people learn what it is, and then I'm also running at that event. I ran that to go, okay, turn 1 handlock, turn 2, now get aggressive, attack, just try to obliterate my opponent after trying to get their hand down to nothing. Oh, you couldn't draw? Now I'm going to destroy you. And that's generally the way I've tried building, is being more aggressive. Even if it requires me doing any amount of lock or disrupt whatsoever, I make sure it's still aggressive, that he can pack a punch. But with that being said, Blastoise just makes it almost impossible to win after so many turns. So instead of going for some like hard counter, you have to get really, really soft with your counters. Say for instance, Macargo can search for any one card, and that's why we play it. Because smooth over, search your deck for cards, shuffle, put it on top, and Zoroark trades into it. So there are numbers of these supporter cards that can help you in certain situations. For example, if your opponent says, by the way, I'm going to play a Mew Mew inside my Archie Stoice, your response is Karen. You force them to get that Pokemon back from their deck into their discard pile. And I'm sure they've wasted a lot of resources to get that Pokemon from that deck to that discard pile. So it's going to be even harder for them, like say for instance Kingdra, or even Evilax, or a number of other cards that can generally help the matchup. But those are the two that usually have the hardest time for Zoroark, and both of them are usually hitting the discard pile and be attackers of Mew. So it only makes sense. Now, would a Zoroark player ever try to play something like Mimikyu from Cosmic Eclipse? Absolutely not. That is just... And I've had people say, just play that. If you're not playing Garb, and that shuts off Zoroark too when it gets damage counters, and there's no reason to do that. When I have several, like, Well, I have soft counters that I can run for decks that are hard counters against others. Like Karen is a hard counter for Night March, for Vespaquin, even Zork Persian, which is a dumb idea itself. These decks realistically lose to a single card. Like I could, like when I played against Greninja, I said Giratina. Greninja was an eighth of the decks in the format. I said Giratina, your move, buddy. Oh, that's right. You can't do anything. I was like, and it kind of hurts them because they have to break evolve into a Pokemon that doesn't have an ability, and then they lose the ability, and all they're doing is hitting for 40, and it's just easier to hit them. You know, it's all about these like soft techs, and that's what I love about Zora Counterbox is it had answers to everything. Now that we're looking at a card such as Raw Eggs or Aggro is what some people call it. I call it Raw Eggs, but and it plays with Vileplume. Now, Vileplume from Ancient Origins basically says each player can't play item cards. The one from Burning Shadow says as long as your active Pokemon, your opponent's active basic Pokemon can attack. So that means that Zoroark is perfectly fine in this matchup, with one exception. That McCargle has to hit the field. Because you literally play a 2-2 in your deck. That McCargo hits the field, it's game over. If it doesn't, as long as you can get Zoroark and potentially use trades to try to get into it, because you're going to bridge it, you're going to get your stuff down. They're not going to knock you out in like 3 or 4 turns. They're going to try to kind of slow your setup and then manually attach. So once this combo hits the field, it is game over. Macargo hits, they can't do anything. And that's what I wanted to play at, say, Richmond or in Portland. I said, you know what? I think Vileplume's going to be good. So I can literally just play this to beat this deck. And it would work perfectly fine because there are so many different supporters that can work for specific situations. I'm going to Guzma this Pokemon up, or, okay, you're going to do this. I'm going to Colress for a gigantic hand, and I'm going to hit the Vileplume up front. Because I've done things where I was like, okay, Guzma the item lock. Let's take a knockout. Sure, go ahead, waste your resources to get that back. I'll grab the Via Secret, or I can just hold the Colress in hand. I'm going to force you to play in. There's a lot of different ways that you can do things, and I think Pokemon like Archeops from Noble Victories, if it was still around, Vileplume wouldn't be a thing. And I kind of do miss the card. But of course, Zoroark probably wouldn't be as big as it is right now. And I will say, Zoroark is still big. Do not get me wrong. If you think Zoroark's gone, it is not gone. That deck is, any version of Zoroark is still good. It's still around. But I will say that it's starting to decline in popularity. Specifically because it's got a bigger target on its back. People are used to playing the deck, and people are used to playing against it. So people say, okay, I can do this to beat it, or I can do this to beat it. And decks like mine with Zoroark Macargo say, nope, you can't just do this to beat it. You have to chain something, or you have to show me some other cards because I'm going to react to that immediately. I'm just going to react. I'm going to say, oh, you're going to attach a Clef Key to that Garbodor? Okay, I'm going to Faba. Be a secret for Faba. It's just... And I've had times when I was like, okay, I'm playing against a Trev deck. That's Mystery Energy. Okay. I was like, okay, smooth over for the Faba. Trade into Faba. Faba that. And I was like, okay, Via Secret for Faba. Your move. You can't ability lock me. If you ability lock me, you're not hitting for damage that turn. And that's what I love about it. I was like, you can item lock me or you can ability lock me, but you can't do both with Trevenant. You just can't. Because I'm going to get my combo off. So Trev was extremely easy for me to play against up until they were able to hit every single card they need. One single Trev deck. One player hits every card he needs in the first game, and it's just over. So, and I played that matchup perfectly. I couldn't have possibly played that better. He just drew in everything he needed. Um, and I'm so close to winning that game. Um, but oh well. So I think that's pretty much it for like some of the decks that you're going to be more apt to seeing. Now let's talk about the coming up format. I told people Trevenant with Dusknoir is really good. Not the tag team, the item lot Trevenant and the Dusknoir that moves damage counters. Both cards work hand in hand, and I did very well with this deck in Dallas like 2015. So I think that's what year it was. Do not hold me to that. I don't remember that well, but anyway, Trevenant with the item lot, Dusknoir with the damage mover, basically because of the new Duskull that came up in Cosmic Eclipse, says once your turn for your attack, you may discard 3 cards from your hand and then search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon Evolve it. So you can evolve to Dusclops turn 1, allowing you to set up a potential Trevenant Dusknoir turn 2 and just say, okay, I'm going to item lock you. I'm going to spread things to like Phantom's attack. You can go, okay, I'm going to attach or just Dimension Valley search for the Trev. Turn 2, Trevenant Break. Attachment, spread with Silent Fear. And then I have the next turn, I've got the Dusknoir just to move damage counters in any way. The deck is extremely good. The deck was really good. I want to play this deck in the expanded format. I really do. But Dark is extremely big right now. And they hit 2 energy, and that's extremely easy for them to do. They hit 2 energy, it's game over. And that's the thing about Trev, is right now it's a huge risk to play. You've got to pray that you do not hit Dark Box. You can hit Zoroark. That's fine. You play like Hance Hammers and Faba, which is absolutely perfectly fine. But you hit Dark Box and it's game over because they draw in energy, attack, knockout, attack, knockout, attack, knockout. You can't chain well enough to keep going. It's just you don't have enough resources to keep going in your deck, and that's the reason why I'm not playing it right now. And because of how good it's doing right now, and that's why I didn't mention it earlier, is because I wanted to save that for right now. Dark Box is so good that I think a few players are starting to play Zoroark with Lycanroc again in Expanded, and the reason why, and even in Expanded they play Lucario, but I think Lycanroc is one of the few Pokemon people are starting to play Zoroark with again in Expanded, specifically because Dark Box is so huge. Pikarom is still tier. I don't care what happens, Pikarom's gonna be tier 1, and they better not announce that you can possibly attack turn 1. If they say you can attack going first turn 1 with no supporters, I forget what they're talking about. Someone was talking about something earlier and said there's a possibility it could happen. I said no, they won't, because Pikarom's going to be the best deck in format if they do, and it's just going to be impossible to beat. So, but with that being said, okay, I got enough time. With that being said, I do like where Dark Box stands. I like where Pikarom stands. Do I like the thought of Lycanroc? It works. And the fact that you get a new baby Lycanroc in Cosmic Eclipse that can literally just go, I smack you for a knockout. Because you have special, because Pikarom plays Flash Energy. That Flash Energy hits that field, it's 100, that's like 130 damage to any Pokemon you pick off on their bench times weakness. So it's like, okay, you're gonna touch that Flash Energy at Pikarom. You got a Rai back there. You've got a Zero Aura back here. Neither of them's got Flash. Oh, some fun. But Lycanroc just swinging for 220 plus Choice Band. Oh my God! Just imagine the amount of fun you can have with that. And even where I played Zoroark with Buzzwole. That deck was fun when I was playing it in Standard. That was the only deck that I had success with other than Ho-Oh. And the reason I didn't play Ho-Oh is because when Pikarom came out, there was no reason to play it. But like I'm saying right now, Dark Box is huge. Pikarom's good. I think Vileplume's starting to climb up in popularity. So now we got to figure out what to play right now for expanded. There's no tournaments between now and Dallas as far as like regionals or anything that's going to give us enough leadway into what to expect. However, any of you that live close enough or want to play expanded or get ready for Dallas, definitely head to Georgia during the Christmas to New Year's Day time, and Georgia's going to have a marathon with a lot of expanded events, and I'm love it. I know for sure Jeff Brower's events I think are going to be expanded, and I'm pretty sure most of the events are going to be expanded, but I know for sure at least three of them will be expanded. Those are the ones I'm going to, expanded ones. But with that being said, here's the deck that I'm more than likely going to be playing when the time comes around. It is Ho-Oh with Mew Mew. This is probably the deck that I'm telling people I absolutely love. Now, people will say, okay, so Ho-Oh, Rebirth, put three different types of basic energy from your hand, from your discard pile onto one of your Ho-Oh EX. And basically, it's like, okay, I'm going to discard, say, 2 or 3 Ho-Oh. I'm going to flip a coin for each of them. If I hit heads on one of them, it's just attach up to 3 different kinds of basic energy from your discard pile to it. And then follow it up with a card called Ninja Boy. Ninja Boy basically says, choose a basic Pokemon you have in play and swap it with a basic Pokemon in your deck. So go from Ho-Oh to Mew Mew. Now I can use Perfection with 3 different basic energy. I have access to probably, at that point, if I played any and every EX or GX in the game, I have access to over half of them. Over half of them. With any 3. That is dumb. And that's the reason why I love the deck. And why right now it is looking to be probably the best deck in the format for when I play. Now, here's something that I'm going to tell you guys, and I hope the entire community doesn't get their hands on this. This is my little way of playing it. This is ADP, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know what this does. Altered Creation GX. You can say, okay, I'm going to Rebirth. I hit it. I Ninja Boy into Mew Mew, or even ADP itself. With a water, metal, any other 1 energy, or even just those 2, whatever. Altered Creation, 30 extra damage, and be able to take another prize. So that's really good. And several decks that only are 2-prize decks can just be easily 2-shot. Like Zoroark. All you have to do is attach a choice band and swing with Ultimate Ray twice, and that's knockout. That's a 3-prize knockout on a GX. And then you've got several different tech options. I'm not going to go over every single one of them that I currently have in this deck, but this one is probably the one I like the most. Of course, you do have the option of Fire, Water, Lightning, just 3 different. And a lot of times you can go Fire, Water, Lightning, Metal onto Mew Mew, and you just say, okay, I'm going to Alter Creation turn 1. I'm going to attach a choice band and go Trinity Burn for 270. And just take a 4-prize knockout. And then at that point, any one prize Pokemon gives you 2 prizes. Or you can take a very easy Shaman EX, Tapu Lele GX knockout, and just win a game. Now is that to say that it is absolutely bulletproof? God, no, it's not. There are several different things that can beat several different cards. The only reason I'm pointing the ones that I did out is because they've worked for me right now. They're what I believe will work. Like, this is in no way finished. Like, I'm still experimenting. Like, Alolan Executor GX can just attach energy and hit the bench for each energy attached to it. I'm thinking about potentially adding an Execute from plasma freeze into here. So I actually have two opportunities to beat the Vileplume lock. So they can't just keep me from attacking, because I also more than likely am going to play this Greninja GX that can put itself onto the bench with the ability, but at the same time can get around things like Keldeo with its attack, which is Mist Slash. I don't know what it. I never knew the name of it. I just know it does Water Colorless 130 and it's not affected by anything. So, and does it work with its Vileplume? No, not if you copy it. If you because you can't attack, and that's it only says damage is this text damage isn't, yeah. So there are several other things that you can play, like potentially Giratina EX for all of those 4 DCE decks. There's this is the one that I've been going back and forth between. This and Smeargle from Breakthrough is this Latios GX. It's really good. It's a free retreater, and it kind of basically hurts your opponent in a way if they start to try to play like Pikarom, Reshizard, Mew Mew of their own. It kind of puts a kind of a disrupt. Basically, puts them on more of a clock. Do I think it's the best? Do I think this is the best deck format? Absolutely. Do I think it's bulletproof? No. Do I think this particular deck or any of its techs are optimal? I can't say with 100% certain. I know which cards will be in here. All the cards that I showed you in Ho-Oh, Mew Mew, even Shaman, which I didn't show you, and ADP, and even Tapa Lele, which I didn't show you guys. Those are going to be in the deck regardless. These other cards are just tech options that work in the deck right now. And this is, I'm going back and forth between this. If you guys have tested and you think that the Smeargle from Breakthrough is 100% call over something like this, you let me know. Because this is the things that I like to know from the community is like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Let me know how my deck works for you in your playtest, because you may play against a bunch of really, really good Vileplume players, whereas I'm basically playing on TCGO against guys from Japan who have no idea what our expanded format look like, because they play in a completely different standard format, or expanded format. So, and then obviously my trainers aren't even close to, I have not messed with these at all, and I will do this within the next, I'll probably start doing it right before the marathon, so I can kind of get an idea of what the list needs to look like, such as battle compressors, communications, keep this in order, Ultra Balls, Via Seekers, Ninja Boys, Colress, Giovanni's Exile, which is a thing, like Guzma, Professor Sycamore. Those are what my mind considered to be helpful in certain matchups, or helpful to counter different interactions. But the deck is so fast, it's generally never going to have to happen, but you never know. Those definitely will change, probably. Chaotic Swell, Choice Band, and even Dowsing Machine, because I'm not sure between Dowsing Machine and Master Ball, but I'm pretty sure I'd rather play Dowsing Machine. The only reason I even would bring up Master Ball is because it does help to have that one extra option to, so you're not having to go, okay, I'm going to discard 2 cards from my hand, bring back the Ultra Ball, then discard 2 more, which is a good reason I might play Execute to go with the Alolan Executor GX potentially. I mean, it's a thought, but I'm still at the crossroad with it. And the only deck in the format that's going to play 2 Grass, 2 Fire, 2 Water, 2 Lightning, 2 Psychic, and 2 Metal. As of right now, not a huge leeway deck. This deck is really good. I like it. It's certainly holding up its own. There are two decks that I have not lost against yet that I'm extremely happy about. It's Archie Stoice is one of them, and Pika Robin's the other. They have yet to beat me, which I love. And there are the aggro types. Like, when it comes to aggro, generally I win, I very fast, or they win. So playing that, if the games are over turn 4, turn 5, if the game's going on by turn 6, turn 7, generally they could win. Because my decks are basically set to win the game extremely fast. So with that being said, that's what my pick is for probably best deck in format right now. Only because Ho EX gives you so many options. Via Rebirth, you can say, okay, I want to attach these 3 different basic energy. Or I can just like, okay, Battle Compressor, I'm going to discard these. I can have like an energy in my hand, discard it with Ultra Ball, and say, okay, so now I've got a Ho-Oh in 3 different energy in that discard pile. Or I can say, okay, let me Pokemon Communication for a Ho-Oh, discard it with Ultra Ball for another Ho-Oh or something, I can do a bunch of, or discard, or get it with Shaman, or I'm even decide to play a single copy of Dedenne because I have the pieces in hand and just want to discard it. But right now it's at 3 Shaman. I'm not 100% sure what I want to play right now with that. But like I said, it's not finished. It's not something where I'm just like, everyone's going to say, you got to play this, this. And it's going to be coming from people who've never played the deck, And I kind of want to hear from players who've played Ho-EX in the past, not players who play Mew Mew in Standard, saying, yeah, I know Mew Mew very well. I'm like, I'm sure you do in Standard. I'm sure you do. But, stuff like that. But I will say, the deck is extremely good. It is something to definitely consider for the expanded format, for Dallas in particular. Now, I know this video's gone on for, 47 minutes, I think? According to clock, almost 50. Oh my god. Okay, guys, so you guys aren't going to listen to this entire video, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about this anyway, because no one's going to sit here and listen to this, and if you do, make sure you comment Shifty's Club, because that tells me you're not... No, I'm kidding. Because I didn't think anyone's going to sit here and listen to this. Anyway, after Dallas, I've already determined what decks I'm going to play for Standard and Expanded. Those of you who follow me on or have me as a friend on Facebook know exactly what deck I'm talking about. In Standard, it's a Lapras VMAX with Frostmoth. Lapras VMAX basically says I don't even care how many energy, because the energy cost is ridiculous. It's 90 plus 30 for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. There's a stage 1 in Frostmoth that says, as objects like during your turn, you may attach a water energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon. It is basically Blastoise, except on a stage 1, so it is easier to get out, and there's even more draw and more search coming out to make this deck potentially better. So instead of doing maybe one full case of Shield and Sword, because I didn't do any of the Cosmic Eclipse, I don't like the set enough to open a case of it. Cosmic Eclipse I don't think was that good. At least maybe some of the GXs, and that's it. Like, everything else was garbage. Like, I just didn't see a lot. And I was right. Every other set from the beginning of Team Up, Unbroken Bonds, Unified Minds, they had enough that was worth opening case. Cosmic Eclipse, no. Shield and Sword will. So let's just say that this deck basically says, okay, I'm going to attach what energy substance I like. I attach 6 energy, and that will knock out a Mew Mew Tag Team. That is no joke. 6 water energies to knock out Mew Mew. And given that you can ramp with a stage 1, that is a turn 2 KO with this. This is not even... And the fact that Mew Mew cannot answer with a Charizard GX attack. He's like, okay, I'm going to copy the GX. I'm going to Perfection GX for 300. Oh, wait, that's not a knockout. I'm 20 short. Plus, the fact that they have a new very bad band, is what I'm going to call it, that gives you 10 extra damage. So you're now 10 damage short. Try to find 10 more damage to knock out this 320 HP beast. Yeah, it's just. Oh, and Lapras can do it very easily. 8 energy on the field, hit for 330, take 3 prizes. It's basically going to be who wins Lapras VMAX versus Lapras VMAX. Who wins the mirror, wins the whole tournament. I have no idea. I love this deck, and I'm going to be playing it. That's why I'm going to buy 2 cases. I may open only one because I open all the Lapras Frostmoth stuff I need, all the Snorlax stuff I need. And if I don't, I might open the second one because the set is so good. Everything I've seen from the Shield and the Sword sets, I love. Absolutely. It is by far a really, really good set that we're going to be looking at here in the coming up in February. And I'm so excited about it. I may actually, like I said, I may actually play in the Oceania International Championship. Depends on testing whether or not I really want to afford to pay for it. Because if I do, I want to buy the plane ticket like a week before, and it's gonna. Well, I know it's gonna be $1,200-$1,400, but still, and that's not 2 ways. That's 1 way. But to go on with that, I will say with certainty because we're almost out of time until college football revealing show comes on, and I gotta watch that. Because I'm a professional sports bettor for a living, but I had a really good week last week. Made $1,000 off of LSU straight up yesterday, which is pretty cool. 2,500 win 1,000 on a money line. I loved it. But anyway, so I really want to talk about the expanded format when it comes up because everybody knows Snorlax is my favorite Pokemon. I love the Pokemon to death, and the fact that it's going to be the best Pokemon. It's going to be the best card in expanded format. It is Zoroark on steroids. The fact that you say, okay, Zoroark's, okay, 20 times 20, and you've got this 20 plus 20, this Mega Rayquaza is 30 plus 30. And it's like, okay, so these are, we can understand because Mega Rayquaza didn't have 3 CE back in the day. It required a DCE Mega Turbo, something like that. Zoroark's like, okay, I can hit 210, but then these tag teams come out. It makes it a little bit more difficult to have some of this. Snorlax has got 0 problems. 0 problems. Like, there's nothing you can't solve with this deck. And I've tried every way to say, okay, let's put this on this. Let's put this on this. It's like, Snorlax has got nothing. Literally, with this VMAX, it's like, okay, turn 1, I can communication. I can play communication. I can play Ultra Ball if I want to play the Ultra Ball. I can play a Cherish Ball, which I do play. I can play pretty much any one of these cards to find, okay, tap a Lele, play it down, search for Winona, any 3 colorless Pokemon, and then just go. So it's like, okay, so I've got Snorlax V, Snorlax VMAX, Minccino, Cinccino, Swablu, Altaria from Roaring Skies. I've got Shaman EX. I've got Ditto Prism. This is literally the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. Is a card like Winona is now probably going to go from being a 25-cent card to possibly $1.50, $2 a piece. That's why I'm buying several copies of it to see whether or not it goes up, because Snorlax is extremely good, and I don't think players are going to just look at my deck after, say, Collinsville. Say, go to Collinsville. People are going to be like, oh, Shifty's playing this Snorlax VMAX. We all should play this deck. Who knows? People may be watching this video and be like, okay, Shifty says he's going to play this deck. We're all going to play it. We're all going to test it. In which I'm perfectly fine with. I want you guys to play what I'm playing, because as soon as I saw that card come out, I said, I'm playing that in Expanded. There's no other deck I'm playing in Expanded but that. The fact that you can play it 2 different ways. You can play it with Ho-EX and say, okay, I'm going to rebirth Ninja Boy into Snorlax V, and then I just go VMAX. I can swing for literally this 3 energy. 3 any basic energy. It is dumb, the number of combos. And you can even pull this crap off with Magearna EX and say, prevent all the effects of attacks, excluding damage done to it. It's like, that's dumb. And then you can go, okay, I'm going to play Darkrai EX or Manaphy X, something, give me free retreat. Okay, that's even better. Yay, we're having a lot of fun here. And then you could play some other bull crap like even Zero Aura with the lightning. Like instead of doing the dark, you can go Zero Aura, you can Zero Aura, Magirna, you can have Virizion. Where it's just like, okay, you can't laser bank combo me. So now I've got a grass lightning metal attached to him and I can just swing for the world and you can't do this, this, or this. I've tried that. It's really good, but it may take a little bit of practice for other people to get used to the deck. But probably the more consistent option is to go turn one Winona, turn to Guzmahala, get the Skyfield, whatever tool you want. I love Life Dew. It is very fun. 3 CE, and just go out and then just take a knockout. The next turn, I was like, oh, you can't one-shot me? Max Potion. It's fun. It is a very fun deck, guys. I love this. I love this proxy deck that I've made, and I've got to say this deck does wonders. And I'm not going to be here sitting telling you guys that a deck works if it doesn't, because you guys know the difference between me and Poke Beach is like, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I'm going to tell you guys what I think. I'm going to tell you guys exactly what's going through my head, what I'm thinking. I'm not going to be like, okay, here's this tier 3 deck that no one's going to play, and I'm going to play something completely different at a tournament because I'm trying to stack the meta. I have no idea. But anyway, guys, it's time for me to go. If you guys, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, post a comment in the comment section down below. And as always, hope you guys have as much fun as I had. I'll see you guys next time at Shifty's Club.